You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby. Oh, that hurts so much.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, big guy.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back. What an awful 3-day vacation that was.
Yeah.
You get to take a week off and go to Mexico, take another day to go to Sum 41, and I get the stomach flu.
Now we're even, right? That's how that works?
Absolutely. The whole universe balances out that way.
I do need you to try something. It's something we do every time someone's sick here. You need to prove that you're not down with the sickness.
Yeah. I think I do it better when I actually am sick. The problem was this wasn't like a throat or anything like that. It lived purely in the guts.
Oh, yeah.
Right in the stomach. Yeah. And I knew. My son came home. We got an email from the school about 2 weeks ago. It was like, hey, parents, heads up. All your little germ factories have gastro now. And I'm like, oh, sick. That's
gross.
Can't wait for that to come home. Friday night, my son's just sitting there with me, and all of a sudden he just gives me this look. And bless his heart, he gets up and he makes it to the bathroom, and I'm just like, oh, no. It's here.
Yeah. It's coming.
And then, like, he got sick. My oldest Alex got sick. And I was still doing okay, even though I was, like, primary care. I was washing. I was doing all the hand sanitizing, all that stuff. Sunday night, I go to bed. You saw it. I still had full intentions of coming into work Monday morning. And then I woke up at, like, 11 o'clock in the night and just went, oh, no. Racing down the hall.
All of a sudden, your stomach's just like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and the problem is, man, is like, you know me. I'm loud in everything that I do. And unfortunately, that also includes praying to the porcelain, so to speak, without trying to be too graphic.
Yeah.
Dude, my whole rib area is just damaged today.
You look like you dropped 10 pounds, though.
You know what? I avoided specifically weighing myself this morning because I didn't want to give myself that sense of false satisfaction.
Yeah.
Because we all do it, right? If you're like a few pounds overweight or like me, more than a few, and you have a reason that you've lost weight, you'll take all the credit.
If you're looking to kick your butt into gear with that New Year's resolution, stop by Dalby's house, catch some gastro.
I'm hoping it's gone by now, but that's like, now every, like, even these, like, little laughs that we're doing hurt so much this morning.
My goal is to make you laugh as much as we possibly
that's really
can
mean.
this morning.
That would be really mean of you to do. Even yesterday, I almost died in my kitchen because I went to take my medicine, like my cholesterol pills, because I'm old, and I, like, errantly took a sip of water, you know, when it gets to the wrong tube.
Wrong pipe, yeah.
And I just had a little, like, I almost swore.
Yeah.
That hurt just doing it now. But I had this cough, and I couldn't clear it because it hurt so much to cough. And I'm just in my kitchen. Mallory's looking at me going, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, just remember, if it hurts so good. It's pain for pleasure is what
true.
it is.
That's not true. I get what you're referencing. It's not in this case, sir. Not at all.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I do want to say thank you to the people who did text in some jokes and got Dalby to laugh, and I got to see him laugh and be in pain at the same time.
Awesome. Like, and even like longtime friends of the show, like Marty, who texted in saying you should get people to text in puns specifically to make me laugh, because I had the vulnerability to say that I'm here at work today, but I am very sore, and that making me laugh will hurt significantly. And everybody on the text line was like, well, we have to take advantage of that.
That's true friendship is what it is.
That's when you know people care about you, is when they want to see you in pain, but like not significant pain.
Yeah.
Just fun pain.
I will say, if you've ever like broken a rib or anything like that is the worst when someone tries to make you laugh. That pain, you just,
Dude, I mean, trying to laugh, trying to cough, even just trying to like take a full breath. You've never known how difficult it is until something in that region gets injured. Although I will say I would rather have the sore ribs that I have right now than the sore neck I get from like when you sleep funny.
Oh, and you can't like turn your head?
When all of a sudden everything between your shoulders and your jaw becomes one solid piece with no ability to turn or tilt or move. when someone calls your name from across the room and you have to do that full Frankenstein turn of like,
You're moving like a bodybuilder, but with the body of not a bodybuilder.
Yeah. What's that thing people get when they get like neck and skull surgery? The halo.
Oh, yeah.
That comes like off the shoulders and gets screwed into the skull.
Mm-hmm.
You're just walking around and you feel like you've got one of those on, but it's just because you slept on your side last night.
Ruins the day instantly. Yeah. It's like, it's essentially the equivalent of putting on pants that don't fit, but with your neck, you know?
It's just a constant level of like, it's not crippling, it's not particularly debilitating, but it is uncomfortable and there's nothing you can really do about it for the entire day.
It's like a we need to talk text, but it's just lingering.
It's just gonna put a real sour mood
It's
in the day.
We need to schedule a chiropractor appointment.
Yeah, is what it is.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We love when we can help the people who listen to this show get some money, especially if we can take that money away from huge corporations like either the one we work for or Ticketmaster, everybody's favorite punching bag. Turns out Ticketmaster got sued with a class action lawsuit for hiding fees.
Oh, I remember hearing about that in the summer.
Yeah. So if you bought tickets from January 1st, 2018 to June 2018, apparently this has been agreed upon. There's been a settlement as of the end of December where Ticketmaster, while saying that they did not do anything wrong, has also mysteriously agreed to pay out $6 million.
So wait, they're still denying it, but they're like, we'll just give money.
We would never do something like this to our valued customers, but we will offer them $6 million for their hurt feelings.
Well, that's nice of them.
That said, the legal company, which is like some lawyer out of Regina in Saskatchewan, is taking roughly $2 million of that. So take a guess. How much do you think the average consumer can get on this Ticketmaster class action lawsuit?
Like $100?
Oh, no, less than that. By about half, actually.
$50?
At most, people can get up to $45 in a gift card usable only as a one-time purchase on Ticketmaster.
$45? I don't know the last time I paid less than $80 for anything on Ticketmaster.
Oh, no, $45 will cover about the fees when you buy something on Ticketmaster. But not always, just sometimes. And again, it's up to $45, meaning I assume you have to have paid.
How did they math that out?
I have no idea. I assume you have to have paid a certain amount of money, and then that will unlock the higher tier where you will get $45. And then again, it's one-time use, so you can't even like spread it around. You can only use it through Ticketmaster, so you can't even like, oh, I'll use it on merch at a show or something. Unless they're selling it through Ticketmaster, you cannot use it on anything else.
$45 on Ticketmaster. That's like the equivalent if I gave you like a $20 Loblaws gift card.
Basically,
it's not going to do anything
like,
for you.
Yes, you have this money now, but what are you going to get for it? And I was curious about this last night when I read the story. So I actually found 4 things you could spend if you are the lucky one to get $45. You could get half of a nosebleed seat at the Junos in Vancouver.
Oh, that's riveting.
You will still have to pay the taxes, but for just the seat, you could get half. If you and I combined our gift cards, we could get 1 Junos ticket. You could get 1 seat at a Harlem Globetrotters game in Mississauga.
Okay.
It's the top row behind the General's net.
Dude, sitting by yourself at a Harlem Globetrotters game is hilarious.
You could get balcony seating. If you want to head to Thunder Bay, the Mini Pop Kids are doing a show at the Community Auditorium.
You couldn't pay me enough money to spend a night in Thunder Bay.
That'll cost you about $40 on Ticketmaster, so you could get that for free. Or you could get 1 ticket to see Creed. That's right. Creed Bratton, the old guy from The Office, is doing a one-man show.
You had me in the first half there.
He's doing a one-man show in Venice, California, and for $45, you can go see it for free. Although with the exchange rate, you will have to dig some change out of your couch to cover the difference.
You know, it's crazy. We're making fun of Ticketmaster because you can't buy a good ticket for $45. But you know there's someone in their car right now that's like, back in my day, I saw The Who for a nickel.
Me and my entire family sat front row at the Rolling Stones in 19-dickety-doo.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
It's crazy looking at the text of people talking about concerts they went to for cheap prices.
Is it crazy or is it depressing?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, I think.
We do got someone on the line. What's the cheapest you ever paid for a concert?
I seen Jimi Hendrix in Toronto for $6.
Get out of here.
It was at the C&E Coliseum, actually. It was standing only. I was about 20 feet from Hendrix, actually.
For $6. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he smashed his guitar, and a piece of it flew over my head.
So I just Googled this. That was back in 1968, if the internet is not mistaken here.
Yep. He hadn't quite made it. That's why it was in such a small venue.
I'm Googling what is $6 in 1968 worth today. Would you guys like to take a quick guess here on what $6 in 1968 would be today?
1968? That's got to be a crisp $40.
Close. What do you think, my man?
I'd say about $30.
Oh, no, you're too low. Are you ready for
Really?
this?
Yeah.
$6 in 1968 would be the equivalent of $54.41 right now.
Still a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
Holy geez, I was better off than I thought I was.
So that Ticketmaster thing is wouldn't be too bad, I guess.
I'd pay $54 to see Hendrix today.
He wouldn't look the same, though.
Dude, a hologram tour, they'd at least charge you a minimum of $300.
Easily.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I saw this headline last night. It was about a man who injured himself in the Pittsburgh City Hall after a toilet exploded.
Whoa.
Apparently, the fixture literally blew up on the back.
What was he doing in there?
The town hall claims that it was from water pressure being too high.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, the guy got rocked off of the toilet. Shards of glass stuck in him.
Well, I mean, I don't know, like, if you've ever watched, like, DIY shows or, like, demo shows where they'll take apart a toilet without turning the water off, like, that water gets moving pretty fast. So the idea that that's moving while he's still on top of it, like, yeah, that'll send you.
I do love that the city of Pittsburgh had to release a statement claiming that it is a plumbing accident and that nobody was trying to, like, take out the mayor or anything.
It's an isolated incident and not a terrorist attack.
But I mean, if you were going to take out a government official, I'm just saying that would be the spot.
I just feel like it would be really hard unless the mayor or president or whatever official you're trying is super regular. You know, like has their fiber down to a T. It's got to be hard to time that attack.
I just feel like that's like the place that you're least looking over your shoulder. You're the most vulnerable too.
Absolutely, especially if you're sitting in the stall, right? Pants, underwear down around the ankles or fully off, depending on what kind of person you are.
You don't think about it. You can get jumped at any moment's notice in the bathroom.
The only good thing is that generally you have a solid wall behind you. Like, it's very unlikely, unless it's a Mission Impossible come down from the roof situation.
But even if it's a public washroom with the stalls, like, you're trapped, man.
Oh, absolutely.
You're trapped.
But you should be able to see it coming either from the left, the right, or the front. That's the only saving grace.
You have your guard down on the toilet, your bed, like all that kind of stuff. I feel so bad for the guy because the paramedics had to show up and pick him up. Imagine, like, being mid-dookie.
Right.
And then getting injured.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing is, like, unless the pressure from the water spraying up had a bidet effect.
Yeah.
You know, the odds are good that while he was lying there waiting for assistance, he wasn't wiping and pulling his pants up. He was probably, you know, in distress.
Yeah.
So then the ambulance shows up and he's on full display.
Yeah, I mean, Elvis died on the toilet and it ruined a legacy.
You're not wrong about that. Just destroyed the image of the king.
Waiting for the paramedics on the floor of the bathroom, too? Oh, God.
Forever unclean.
Oh, God.
There's not enough sanitizer on God's green earth.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We got numerous texts from people saying they've hurt themselves in the bathroom. And I did a quick Google here. Apparently, the bathroom is the most dangerous place in any person's home. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they say every year, over 235,000 people visit emergency rooms due to injuries suffered in the bathroom.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. One, you can have some heart problems on the toilet if you put too much effort into it.
Now, listen to this. 235,000 people in the bathroom in general.
Yeah.
40,000 of those are because of toilet-related injuries.
This is what I'm saying, man, is if you strain, so to speak, too hard, I'm not trying to be graphic, but like there are a lot of things that can happen. And then just steps away from the toilet, you got the shower.
Yeah.
I almost fell in the shower last week. Almost fell and broke my ass.
Yeah.
Like, you can get real hurt in your bathroom.
With the toilet, though, apparently a lot of the injuries come because of toilet seats being faulty, either cracking, slipping off. The exploding thing like that happened to the gentleman in Pittsburgh. They also do say that people who have sat too long and lack of blood flow in the legs.
Well, that's more and more with the cell phones nowadays. People are, because you used to sit in there and learn French by reading the back of the shampoo bottle until you were done. Then you would get up and leave. Now you're on your phone, you're reading, you're playing games, you're watching videos or whatever, and all of a sudden you're smacking your legs like an NFL player trying to shake off an injury.
Yeah.
Like, I can't walk.
One of the most common causes of an injury from a toilet, the seat being left up.
Really?
Falling into the bowl.
I will say it's happened exactly one time in my house. I went to the washroom. I left the seat up. It was at night. My oldest woke up in the night and went to go sit down and fell in. I was woken up by the sound of Dad. And I went running down the hall, and I have never in my life felt as bad as in that moment when I realized what had happened.
Yeah.
It's so awful.
According to this article, it says some people get stuck in the toilet as well, which, that goes back to the whole paramedic thing.
Well, and because it's on the same level as, when you're going down the stairs and you think there's one more stair or you think there's one less and it throws off your balance. It's the same when you're going to sit. You think that you're going to land here, and in reality, you land down here, and you'll throw out your back, you'll mess your hips up, your feet go flying up in the air. It's a terrible fall.
Yeah.
And then you're landing on cold, hard, wet porcelain. There's no give there. Best case scenario, the bowl doesn't break under your weight. Worst case scenario, now you're sitting in broken porcelain.
Yeah, and then you got to deal with your wife yelling at you.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Apparently, Apple and SpaceX are going to team up because they are trying to make a collaboration to bring those Starlink satellites to be able to connect to iPhones. So basically, you would never not have service anywhere if you have an iPhone.
I mean, if they can make that happen, it would be a massive win for Apple. I mean, the sheer selling, the marketing of being able to say, buy an iPhone, never have no bars, would sell hundreds of phones.
Apparently, they're going to start testing it out in February. I guess in the States, they've teamed up with T-Mobile or whatever it is, and they're going to start doing a kind of a small launch there, which I do like the idea of it, like you said, just being able to have service at any time. But I mean, first they took our headphone jacks.
Yeah.
Now they're taking away our ability to ignore phone calls.
Well, that's just it. If you get an iPhone,
I hate that.
If this becomes a thing, every single work phone in every company on earth is going to become an iPhone, because then there is no excuse of sorry, man, I was out at the camp. I had no bars. You know what it's like out in the woods.
This will be the only reason I'll ever switch to an Android.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Do you not know what this is?
Is there a new Lord of the Rings movie coming out?
Okay, thank God someone else hasn't seen it either.
What is it?
This is the opening credits to Yellowstone.
Oh, this sounds like something that would have played in that new Superman trailer.
Courtney came home from work the other day and for some reason decided to start watching this show.
Wait, Yogi Bear?
No.
Sorry, that's Jellystone.
Yeah.
What is Yellowstone?
It's that Kevin Costner show.
Oh, and then he left it, right?
I don't know. I refuse to watch it. It sucks.
That's the only thing I know about it is Kevin Costner was doing a TV show and he wears a cowboy hat a lot.
Yeah.
And then apparently he left the show and people got real mad.
Good. I've been watching this for the past 3 nights. It's 762-555. Does Yellowstone get good? Because for 2 years, my mom's been like, you guys gotta watch Yellowstone. And then even my dad and his girlfriend are like, you guys gotta watch Yellowstone.
And
then
now Courtney's watching it?
Dude, she came home a couple nights ago. We put it on, and all that show is about farm, business, family, murder, and some sex.
See,
sometimes not all in that order.
This is why you don't like it. You're just a soft city kid. You don't understand the rigors of ranch life.
I can't handle it. It's so dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then like they try and do like some action stuff, like cars blowing up and crap. Like, and I can't get into it, man. Like,
Again, it's one of those things where I have this thing was as soon as I hear that people are mad at a show, I can't watch it anymore because I won't set myself up for that inevitable disappointment.
And you make the joke about me being a city boy. I feel like this is what city people watch to make themselves feel like they're farm people.
Right. This is written by people who've never set foot on an acreage trying to write about ranch life.
Yeah. They get a pair of like Levi's and boots and they're like,
I got my 405s and now I know about working a hard day.
I also just feel like it's kind of hot guys. Like that's what it is too. I feel like that's why my mom and Courtney like it.
Kevin Costner can get it.
It's just a bunch of hot guys doing manly stuff at all times. They're like, I'm going to wrangle that horse and then I'm going to take you down later. But then I also run a business. That's the entire show from like basically the first season that I've seen.
When you say it like that, it does sound kind of hot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know.
It's like a nicely shot soap opera is what it is. Yeah.
Oh, I've already got that now that WWE's on Netflix. I don't need another one.
The only time I want to see Kevin Costner in a field is in Field of Dreams.
Right. I want corn.
Yeah.
I want nothing but corn and baseball.
Yeah. I want him crazy and talking to baseball ghosts. That's all I want.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
It's time for Brock and Dalby's Draft.
All right. Y'all can stop texting in about Yellowstone right now.
So many people who love it.
So many people are saying greatest TV show of all time, my favorite TV show. So you know what? In honor of all you Yellowstone freaks, we decided to randomly do a draft this morning of the greatest TV shows of all time.
And listen, I'll go ahead and say this. Neither of us have watched Yellowstone. Well, you've watched very minimal.
I've watched the first season and it's ass.
If you like the show, that's great. To call Yellowstone the greatest TV show of all time when there are so many clearly, objectively, and subjectively better picks is wild.
My blood is boiling this morning because someone texted in and said Yellowstone is the Sopranos of the farming world, and it just rocked me to my core. So my number one pick is The Sopranos.
Yeah.
One of the greatest television shows of all time from front to back. Whether you want to argue that the ending maybe annoyed you, where they cut to black or whatever, you can't deny that entire show is just chef's kiss, going through the life of Tony Soprano and his family and following a mob boss go through therapy and all this. It's a roller coaster of a ride, and the music in it and all the actors in it. It is, to call Yellowstone the Sopranos of the farming world just makes me sick.
I mean, I've seen more Yellowstone than I've seen Sopranos, but that's not what we're talking about here today. So let's just move on to my number one. You're just glaring at me.
I want to use Italian swear words at you.
My number one pick is a show that has stood the test of time, 30 plus seasons. And listen, you can make the argument that they're not all great. But even if the series had ended after season 9, season 10, it would still go down as a pop culture icon, game-changing animated television show. Number one pick's The Simpsons.
The Simpsons, yeah. You should have just said seasons 1 to 10, and I would have agreed with you.
I think that's the thing. Whether you like 10 through 30 is irrelevant. It's still on. They still get paid to make that show in a world where we cancel your favorite show every 6 months. That's how big that show is.
Coming in at number 2, this might be a hot take, but I got into it a couple years ago because there's a channel on my Samsung TV. I'm going to go with Baywatch.
The height difference of going with The Sopranos at number 1 and Baywatch at number 2 is crazy.
Hear me out.
All right.
Action, drama, suspense, babes in slow motion as well.
Okay.
You look at the actors that came through that thing, the storylines, you always learn a little bit of a lesson.
You're going to look me dead in the eye in front of the Lord and our listeners and tell me you're watching Baywatch for the storylines? Sure, I bet you read the articles in Playboy, too.
I guarantee you people had so much respect for lifeguards in the 90s just because of that show.
For what? Fitting in the spandex?
People took no running on the deck seriously in the 90s.
They still still don't do that.
Baywatch was a great show.
My number 2, I didn't think it was still going to be on the board. Maybe I'm going a little bit too comedy heavy here, too lighthearted, but if you've got the number 4 pick overall and the Seinfeld is still on the board, you take Seinfeld.
Yeah.
The greatest sitcom of all time. And I say that as someone who's not even a huge fan. You look at the longevity of the show, how long it was on the air the first run, the ratings that it got, the quotability, the pop culture moments from that show, and the fact that it is still on every channel in syndication
That's
to this
valid,
day.
yeah.
It is Seinfeld at number 2. Easy mode.
Finally, I'm going to go with one of my favorite shows of all time, but I'm putting it in at number 3. I'm going It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That show has, I think, 15, 16 seasons now. If you have never watched it, start from season 1. It does not disappoint. There's not a bad episode, honestly, in that show. And you can tell what year it was filmed in.
Yeah.
They're very timely with the episodes. They're basically the Americans that you love to hate.
Oh, 100%.
They're those kind of people.
Far be it from me to politic for one of your answers, but the show is on Disney Plus. If you have it, you should go watch it.
You should binge watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It is just another chef's kiss.
I'm glad you kind of you started strong, and then, in my opinion, you went off the board for a couple of picks, and I'm so glad because it gives me the chance to go off the board for my number 3 pick, which I will pick with my whole heart. It is my favorite show of all time. It only got 1 season before it was unjustly canceled by Fox. It's been screwed over. It's a cult favorite. It is Firefly. It is the greatest show that most of you have never heard of.
Doesn't it only have 1 season, though?
It only needs 1 season. It needs 1 season to be better than Baywatch. All right? I'll tell you that right now.
If it only had 1 season
It's still that good.
and it got canceled,
It's still that
it
good.
couldn't be that good.
You haven't watched it.
That's like having a date with someone and then breaking up with you and being like, they were the one.
They could have been.
They were the one.
You don't know. Maybe they were the one.
They never gave you a chance.
We could have made it work, Fox. This could have been the greatest show of all time, but instead it's the 3rd greatest show on my draft list because I have The Simpsons, Seinfeld, and Firefly.
I'm going Sopranos, I'm going Baywatch, and I'm going It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This has got to be the hottest take draft of all time.
We're going to get so many texts of people that are like, how did you miss 800 different shows? But whatever, it's our list.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I'm always man enough to admit when I've lost.
Victory!
Give you a W this morning, but it was close.
It was very close. It was down to the wire, but can I say that more importantly than the draft, I know it means a lot to us to win. To see this many people say they also watch Firefly, guys, we can bring it back. If we just get together, they have to listen to
15
us.
people is not a lot.
It's a lot to me, all right? When you're all alone, that's a lot.
I will say a lot of people are mad at us with our picks. A lot of people saying, like, you left off Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones.
I was always of the opinion I would watch it when it was done, and then the ending was apparently so bad, I was like, oh, I dodged a bullet there. So.
The Walking Dead, Courtney tried to show me it once. I can't get into zombie stuff.
I watched a lot of the first Walking Dead, and then it started to get really silly, and now there's like 8 different shows. Like, how could you keep up on all of it?
Never watched Dexter. Have you watched Dexter?
No, my wife used to watch Dexter and spoke very highly of it. Another one that had a really miserable ending, apparently, though. Same with
Sons of
Lost.
Anarchy was a big one that people were yelling at us on the text line for.
I do. Sons of Anarchy and The Wire are 2 shows that I saw texted in a lot that we didn't say, that I haven't watched, that I do want to at some point. Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if I'm tough enough to watch Sons of Anarchy. You know what I mean?
Sons of Anarchy is, I think, like Yellowstone for like city people. You know what I mean? Like where people watch Yellowstone, they can feel like a farmer. I think it's for like dudes who aren't badass can watch it and be like, yeah, brother.
Well, that's
like,
just it. Like, I don't know if I feel right as I wrap myself up in my pajamas in a throw blanket and lay on my soft couch and go, hell yeah, biker time.
It's like watching Breaking Bad and you...
If you don't do meth, you're not allowed to really get into it.
Yeah, if you've ever wanted to sell drugs, but you're too scared to do it.
I live on this side of the law, so I'll just watch Malcolm in the Middle's dad push meth instead.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
If you got a question you want to ask us, 762-555 is the number to text.
God damn.
Questions, comments, or concerns, ask them all over to us. Woo. Just you can't send any new pictures to us because it's Text Us Thursday. Text Us Thursday.
I gotta be honest with you, man. Losing your voice might be the best thing that ever happened to you.
I am Lemmy Reborn. Someone get me a Jack and Coke. First text we got in said, could you tell Nicole to message me? I'm a better man.
All right, Nicole. That dude's a better man than somebody else, I guess. Theoretically, he's probably right.
I mean,
it depends on who the man is.
If your name's Nicole and you're texting with anyone who has a 249 area code,
they're better?
They're apparently better. Do they think they're better because they got the 249 area code? Is that what it is?
Do you think that they're better than the person who texted Jack and Coke is fine? It's 12 o'clock somewhere in the world?
Hey, man, some people are getting off night shifts. This is their time to have, their nightcap.
I just like that the established prior was it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Now we're saying it's noon somewhere.
Listen, I was in Mexico 2 weeks ago, and every morning I woke up and cracked a beer, so... Living La Vida Loca.
I guess fair enough. Hey, what do I know?
Somebody said pepperoni on top or underneath the cheese on a pizza. What says you?
I like the on top because I like it to crisp up. If it's underneath the cheese, it's still good.
Yeah.
But I like that crispy.
I think it depends on the pepperoni. If it's the little cuppy ones,
yeah,
on top for sure.
Putting the little cup ones under the cheese is a waste of cup pepperoni. Like, get out of here.
But some of those like bigger fat pepperonis, like especially if they're like a deli meat,
yeah.
I feel like they burn too much, and like those ones under the cheese work better.
That's fair. Yeah. But I think if you're at that point, like that's just too much pepperoni. Like. Bring the piece size down a little.
I don't think you can ever say there's too much pepperoni.
You're using building blocks over here. That's a full layer of meat. That's unnecessary.
There's never enough roni, dude. Someone said, why do deer get scared if you step on a branch, but they stand still when a truck comes flying at them?
I think it's something to do with like the way the light hits their eyes.
It's the lights,
yeah,
right?
They basically just can no longer see.
But then again, even during the day, I've seen deer do the same thing. So
it's true. I mean, yeah, it does go to show they have that prey mentality of like they hear the stick and they immediately go, that's something that's going to kill me. But for some reason, just two lights barreling down at them and they just go, well, this is it for me.
They're looking, they're like, that thing got a Hemi?
Is that guy? Oh my God. If I never hear the word Hemi again in my life.
That would have been a great Dodge commercial, actually. Just a deer standing in the middle of the road. That thing got a Hemi?
And then, no, it's that thing got a Hemi and then a hard cut to the deer's head up on the wall at home.
Yeah. Someone said, what is your favorite smell of all time?
Favorite smell of all time is probably Subway bread.
Ooh, Subway. Not even the bread, but just walking into Subway.
Honestly, It's the overall ambiance of walking into a Subway.
I think a close tie with that is my dog's paws when they get that like Dorito smell.
The toe beans? Yeah. A lot of people will say that.
I love that so much.
I will also say, and this is not my favorite because I don't experience it often enough, but I also do love the smell of like a Home Depot or just a lumber yard in general. Just a little bit of wood is a nice smell.
Nothing like walking into Home Depot and smelling the morning wood.
Yeah. But then I have to ask people questions and then I look like an idiot and it kind of ruins it.
All right, let's wrap up with one more question here.
Can I wrap up with one actually? Because there's a lot of text that we're getting here that I think is something I missed.
Don't bring this up.
I'll just read this one here. This says, are you getting a cat or what?
No.
Why not?
I'm not buying a cat.
Listen, I listened to the podcast when you had Courtney on Tuesday.
She did me dirty doing that here.
She said she wants a cat. You're the one that's always telling me about how much you love this girl. She's the love of your life. You're a great boyfriend. Get her a cat.
No.
Get her a cat.
No.
She took you to Mexico for your birthday.
Don't.
She took you to Mexico for your birthday.
Do that.
I think that's you would buy her a cat and then still owe her.
I'll put a roof over her head.
Yeah, now you can put a roof over a cat's head.
I cannot stand cats, man. I just I can't do them. The look, the smell, as I mentioned the other day, they're little a-holes, dude.
Let me ask you this. How would your dogs get along with a cat?
I think they'd be fine.
Oh, so that's 3 against 1 then.
Stop
Get
this.
the cat.
People have messaged Courtney on her Instagram page because I know some of you get your hair done by her and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Cut it out. Knock it off.
What are they messaging?
I'm all about having fun. Knock it off, guys.
Are they messaging her about adopting cats?
Yeah. People are sending her links for cats.
So listen, if you've got kittens, if you've had a cat that's recently had kittens,
Stop
we
it.
have a voicemail line, 833-854-2233. Text BAD to 762-555. I'll send you the number. Hit us with your best pitch. Sell us on a cat. Let us know where your cat is and when can Brock come and pick it up.
And I will also be posting said cat on Facebook Marketplace instantly.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Yeah, today's word is it's diaphanous.
What?
Diaphanous.
Can we read? What did he just say?
It's diaphanous. Diaphanous.
What?
Yeah,
Diaphanous.
Anyways, it's the quality of being extremely delicate or thin or insubstantial.
Your delicate thin anus.
Diaphanous. That's not what I thought it was going to mean. Anyways, that just about does it. Have a great one.
That
Cheers,
can't be it,
you're up.
right? Sorry, cheers, Ed. That can't be it.
What?
Diaphanous.
Diaphanous?
That's what happens if you get a farmer's.
He didn't give us the spelling on this one, so I don't even know how to look it up.
You're right. Normally he spells it out, but it's what do you say? It's thin and delicate.
Thin and delicate,
Thin, delicate, It's probably V. Oh, hang on. I think I found it here.
Diaphanous.
Yeah.
Diaphanous?
Diaphanous. Diaphanous.
Light, delicate, or translucent. Well, that's different than dying of anus.
If you've ever had to go into a public bathroom after somebody else, you know what it's like to die of anus.
If you've ever eaten a Crunchwrap Supreme before,
Diaphanous.
strikes not far after.
Brother, I had to miss 3 days of work this week because I was at home dying of anus.
Diaphanous, or diaphanous.
This is one to keep to yourself.
Yeah. Maybe don't use any of them today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.